I'm Marin, and this is Post-its and Pens. Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin, and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. Today's video is going to be my December TBR, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, typically when I do my monthly TBRs, I play a game called Wheel of TBR where I spin a wheel that has a whole bunch of prompts on it, and then I pick a book that matches whatever prompt comes up. However, for November and December, I am working on a little project that in my head I have called Start 2023 with a Clean Slate, and that means checking off all of the remaining books from various lists that I had made at the start of the year. So in November, I really focused on series books because I had made a list of 22 series that I wanted to finish in 2022. So I worked really hard to check those books off. I participated in the Final Book Support Group's readathon, which was the week of the 21st through the 27th, where I was checking off as many series books as possible. And that means that I actually only have 2 more series books to read to complete that whole list. So I will have a series book on this list, but the bulk of my TBR in December is actually going to come from my 22 books to read in 2022 list. If you are curious, I will link that video up above, but I have 7 of them that I still need to read because I did not do a good job of putting these onto my TBR throughout the year. So this is what happens when you don't do that. You wind up with a ton of them that you still need to read. Now, I did go over almost all of these in my end of the year book tag video, which I will also link above, but I'm gonna just kind of go through them quickly and let you know what else at this point I still need to read. So here we go. The first book on my list for December is the 12th Nancy Drew book, which is Message in the Hollow Oak. I had set myself a goal to read 1 Nancy Drew book each month this year, and this will be the final book from the 12 that I was wanting to read. So this will check off one of the goals. It is going to be a very quick and easy read. I can usually get through it in like an hour, hour and a half, so I will have no trouble checking this goal off. The second book on my list is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alix E. Harrow. Now, this is kind of a twofold book. So this is a book on my 22 books to read in 2022 list, but this is also my December buzzword pick because the buzzword for December is number in the title. So we have 10, we have 1,000, and 10,000. So 3 numbers technically. So this will check that off. I had set myself a goal to read all of the buzzword challenge books this year, and this will be the last one. So again, twofold for this book, and I'm really excited to read this one. Actually, I really liked The Once and Future Witches, which I read by her, so we'll see what I think about this one. Number 3 on my list is another book from my 22 books to read in 2022 list, and that is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. This is the definitive history of racist ideas in America, and I had read the YA version of this, last summer or the summer before? I can't really remember, but I really liked that one, but I really wanted to read like the full book, which this one is. So it's chunky, but I listened to a really chunky book on audio this month, and I feel like this one shouldn't be too terribly hard to get through. Actually flipping through, there are a ton of notes at the back, obviously. So the book actually ends on page 511. And all of this is notes. So I'm thinking I can probably get through this one decently fast. I will be listening to it on audio. I just find that I'm more engaged when I do audiobooks with nonfiction. So yeah, this is book number 3 on the list for December. Book number 4 on my list is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is another book from my 22 books to read in 2022 list. I have never read a T.J. Klune book. I know that that's crazy because everyone really seems to love his books. I know that there is some not great history behind the idea of the House of the Cerulean Sea, so where he came up with his idea is not really all that kosher, so I'm aware of that, but I still want to read the book because I'm curious to see what the story is about, and then kind of decide if he might be an author to continue reading from, although I do not see myself reading like his paranormal stuff, but I could potentially see myself reading Under the Whispering Door if I like the House of the Cerulean Sea. So that is the 4th book on this list. The 5th book on my list is Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. I actually tried to read this book a very long time ago and just never finished it, and then I lost the book, so I have no idea where it went, but I was like halfway through it, so I've been wanting to finish that one because it has been on my Goodreads want to read list since like January of 2012, so I really want to go ahead and finish that. It is a book from my 22 books to read in 2022 list. I am going to start the whole thing over and like read it all the way through because I do not remember really much of anything from the last time I read it. It was at least 7 or 8 years ago. Not kidding. I had like the movie cover version, so it was a long time ago. So that is the next book on this list of books to read. The next one, number 6, is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I watched this movie a while back, enjoyed it, and have always wanted to read the book. This is another one that's been on my want to read list since January of 2012, and I'm finally getting to it. Now, I did try to read this earlier in the year and just really was not feeling fantasy at that point, so I did not finish it, but this one is really short. I'm pretty sure I can get through it in like a weekend easily. So this is another one on my 22 books to read in 2022 list that I am hoping to check off. And then the next book, which is book number 7 on the list, the last one from my 22 in 2022 list, is My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. This is a summertime book, so I really should have read it a long time ago. It's now winter time, but you know, it is what it is. I did read another book by Huntley Fitzpatrick earlier in the year, What I Thought Was True, and liked it okay. So we'll see what I think about this one. But again, it's been on my want to read list for a long time, so I just want to go ahead and read it and check it off. Then we're going to get into the remaining series books that I still need to read to finish my 22 series in 2022 list. The first one is Unthinkable by Nancy Werlin. This is the 3rd and final book in her Impossible series. I am actually reading book number 2 in this series right now, which is called Extraordinary, and I'm going to get to the 3rd one in December. Now, I will say it has been forever since I read the first book, but Impossible, the first book, was like one of my favorite books of all time and is still listed as a favorite on Goodreads, even though I don't remember like a whole ton about it. So I am curious to see what I will think of the 3rd book. I'm not as keen on the 2nd one, but it's fine. So we'll see where the 3rd one falls. So that is book number 8. Book number 9 is The Hollow Heart by Marie Rutkoski. This is the 2nd and final book in her, what is it called? The Midnight Lie. The Midnight Lie was the first one. I don't know if that's what the series is called. I truly cannot remember. But yeah, I really liked the Winners trilogy by her, one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. And this is like a little bit of like a spin-off of that series. So I picked it up just on a whim, liked the first book, hoping to finish the 2nd one. It's not very long. I feel like this is another one that I can probably get through pretty quickly. So this is book number 9. And then I went ahead and added a 10th book to this list just to kind of make it an even number of books. And that is Happily Ever After by Kiera Cass. Now this is like her collection of novellas set in the Selection series universe. I did read one of them earlier this month, The Favorite, which is part of this collection, so I'll just skip that one. But this is a collection of all the other novellas from the series, and I'd like to go ahead and read it because the Selection series is on my 22 series to finish in 2022 list, and I would just kind of like to completely check that off with the novellas. So that's the other one that I'm going to go ahead and throw on here just to make it an even 10 books. So that's where we are. These are 4 of the 10. The rest of them I will be either borrowing physically from the library, the holds just aren't in yet, listening to audio, or reading on ebook. But yeah, that is my December TBR. It's a little ambitious, but I do have time off at the end of the month for my Christmas winter break. So I'm feeling pretty good about being able to get through all of the books on the list. And hopefully I will have some winners, because I have definitely had some duds on both the series list and the 22 and 2022 list. So we'll see how these come out. We'll cross our fingers that I will have some 5 stars, because I have not had a 5-star at all in the month of November. So here's hoping. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.